Hey everybody, I am Sarah. Welcome back to the first episode of Cassette Cult in 2019. For this episode, we're going to be talking about a speed metal release, a death metal release, and a black metal release. Let's go. First band, death metal. That is the American death metal institution, Deceased. Deceased are one of those bands that are just chronically not as well known as they should be. They've been together since 1985. They're run by King Fowley, who is just a legend in the underground metal scene. And they released their newest album, which is called Ghostly White, back in November. And this record kind of is a bit of a departure from their previous two, and is also, by the way, their 8th studio album. This band merges a lot of thrash metal, death metal, and heavy metal, and they've got a really unusual style. And this record is very somber. Let's listen to it. As you can tell, King's voice is unusual. It's got just this really eerie, kind of ghastly, grouchy howl, and it's not quite a death metal scream. And I mean, Deceased really has their own sound and their own style, and sadly, Ghostly White, their newest album, is also the last with their drummer Dave Castillo, who passed away back in November. So Dave, rest in peace. Thank you for all of the killer albums that you've made, and everyone else, fuck, go pick up this new record, because I do think it was one of the best albums of 2018, and because it was released so late, kind of everybody forgot to put it on their best of 2018 release list. I know, we never get to play enough of an album, but this Deceased record is really revealing new things with every single spin. I've probably listened to it a good 30, 40 times, and every single time I find something new. And for those who are big Deceased fans, I have to mention the vocals of Gillian Smith. She does some stuff in the later tracks, and she has a killer contribution, so I definitely recommend that album. All right, the next one I'm going to talk about is one of those unusual bands that when you hear them at first, you don't like it at all. That band is Black Viper. They are a Norwegian heavy speed metal band, and I have to give props to my partner who bought this cassette, played it about 100 times in our apartment, and then finally I realized that he actually has a really good pick here. This band has one full length, one demo to their name. This full length came out in 2018, and the song that we're going to listen to from Hellions of Fire is called Metal Blitzkrieg. You gotta love that speed metal, because it's in all of the classic releases. This band is reminding me of more recent bands like Cavalier, the Finnish speed metal band that I've talked about previously. Also remind me of Toronto's own Manacle. And admittedly, speed metal has kind of fallen out of fashion in the last 2 years or so. I think it's really been kind of taken or overtaken by traditional heavy metal, which is really having its day in the sun right now. But it's great to see the bands are still emulating the classic style and really going for, you know, that classic sound that bands like Razor, of course, and Exciter and those types of bands really perfected in the 80s. But they're doing something new, and they're keeping the torch alive and keeping speed metal alive, and I love that. All right, now, for the third and final band, we are taking a strange left turn into a very bizarre, atmospheric black metal band that hails from the Faroe Islands. That band is called SVARTMÁLM, and their cassette is self-titled, also called SVARTMÁLM. And this one, I don't know what it is about it, but it's almost black metal doom, and it's very atmospheric, and I just find this one incredibly hypnotic. I think you guys are gonna be really into it. Enjoy. you get the drill. This is very atmospheric black metal, and I think it's kind of in the same vein as bands that I've talked about previously. A band like Starcave is kind of like this, and not only that, but I think it's kind of telling that this band, it says in their cassette release, that the lyrics are based on Johansson's poetry collection. And I think that that's kind of fitting for black metal that feels very introspective and very sad and very dense. Instead of, you know, going for the nature worship or whatnot, it's based on a poetry collection. It's kind of beautiful, and it really fits the very swirling, dense, malevolent feel and vibe of this band. So I definitely am recommending this one. It's out on Vendetta, which has been picking up a lot of cool black and death metal bands recently. Now, for the fourth and final thing, and also the introduction of something new for Cassette Cult, where I wanted to talk about metal history and highlight a really good and forgotten underground metal classic. The one that I'm talking about today is Mythic, Mourning in the Winter Solstice. This EP came out back in 1993. You might notice that I'm also wearing the accompanying shirt today. I actually got it from Aesop Decker, who is the drummer for Extremity. So thanks, Aesop. I am super stoked on this shirt. If you haven't heard Mythic, they're very much one of the progenitor death doom bands. This release is like 15 minutes long, not even, and it's just that low, rumbly, arcane death doom, and it's got those classic US DM rumbling Cookie Monster style vocals. I highly recommend, if you haven't checked this one out, that you check it out now. So that's it for me, folks. One quick note. Can't take any more submissions. Unfortunately, I am completely inundated with cassettes, and I don't need any more for a while. So I'm gonna instead leave you with some awesome rumbling death doom. Thanks for watching.